Bitcoin has once again set a new yearly high today, further validating the hypothesis that potentially the vertical accumulation stage of this giga bull market has begun, leaving the baby bears absolutely demolished, obliterated, emasculated, and begging for life. But what if I showed you a chart that was so absolutely hard to believe that after you see it, you would be standing in a puddle of your own mess? I think it goes without saying that the price of Bitcoin is doing one thing right now, and it can only be described in one word. Big, right? Extremely big. Over the last 24 hours, yet again, we've put in a new yearly high, with Bitcoin going all the way up near 39,000 US dollars. And there are so many incredible charts that I'm actually going to be jumping into right here that, I mean, by the end of it, guys, if you're not literally screaming and itching from excitement after you watch this video, then, you know, that's not my fault, right? You're the one that needs to pay attention to this mind-blowing, life-changing data, in fact. So before we actually jump into each individual chart, I think it's important to start the video off by just highlighting the very real possibility that, as many people I'm sure you've been hearing this over the past 24 hours, are we in some sort of vertical accumulation very similar to Bitcoin's second bull market and also Bitcoin's third bull market, as right now we're entering Bitcoin's fourth bull market. The one thing that I don't necessarily like about the third bull market chart is we saw the crash in March of 2020. However, in previous bull markets, it was a slow vertical accumulation, a slow drifting up, right? Massive pumpy, with really not much downside. And that's just how it was. For example, if we look at the entire cryptocurrency market chart going back to about 2015, look at the 2015 into 2017 run. Yes, absolutely, there were some dumps along the way. Clearly, you can see some dumpies. I mean, really though, what was the biggest dump? Maybe like 10% or something? I mean, okay, so that's deceiving. That's about a 30% dump. That's a decent sized dump. But realistically, it was basically massive gainer after massive gainer. Now, this was the previous bull market, the third bull market. And this anomaly right here, we all know what this was. Without this, however, and also this is a very exaggerated pump, without these two kind of opposing events where it was a massive pump, massive dump, ultimately, if you kind of average these out, the price did this, right? It basically also did exactly what it did in the previous bull market, although this one just looks a little more messy because of the massive pump we had in the summer and then the massive dump we had in the spring or late winter of the following year. So realistically, if we kind of get the idea, we kind of get the gist of a 4-year cycle, and we put these two charts, we combine all the charts actually of the previous cycles, we get a very clear picture. And this is the entire cryptocurrency market cap chart. This is not Bitcoin. This is everything. So currently we're sitting above 1.4 trillion US dollars for the entire cryptocurrency market. I mean, 1.4 trillion. That's pretty impressive. That's a pretty big number. I bet if I tried to count to 1.4 trillion, it would take me at least 2 days, right? Maybe I could do it in 3 days, but it would probably take me a long time to count to 1.4 trillion US dollars. And that is exactly the valuation right now of the entire cryptocurrency market. But guys, on this chart, very conservatively, I believe what we're going to be seeing in just the next 2 years is a 10x of that, at least a $10 trillion valuation in the entire cryptocurrency market space. And this right here is what that looks like, right? I have it pictured on here so you can see that. This is what that looks like. So that ends up being a pretty big number. And I wanted to start off by showing you that to show you realistically kind of this floating up, this accumulation, this bullish vertical accumulation is literally how bull markets really start. If you go back and look at any of the other Bitcoin bull markets, they've really started their bull markets by doing exactly this. Yes, there are some dumps, guys. There are some 10, 20, even 30% dumps pretty routinely during that 1 to 2 year massive pump. But realistically, it's not out of the question. In fact, it's reasonable now to be saying, get used You have to get used to this idea of just floating upwards. We are not in the dumpy downtrends of a devastating bear market anymore. The entirety of 2023 has shown us that. And so that leads me into a few other things I want to talk about. Mags the Scalping Pro on Twitter highlighting Bitcoin's all-time highs. He charted out to roughly about 2025 being the new peak of this cycle. But his post here says, in the previous two cycles, Bitcoin took about 234 to 216 days to break above its previous all-time high. With the Bitcoin having just 130 days away, adding 234 days post-halving brings us to a total of about exactly a year, 365 days. If history repeats, we could see a new all-time high, he says, in about a year, in December of 2024. But one thing I do want to highlight about that, if that ends up being true as well, a new all-time high, basically you can account for trillions more dollars, basically at least 3 trillion total dollars in the entire cryptocurrency market cap in that period. I personally think with these Bitcoin spot ETFs, that number is going to be bigger. I think this could get much crazier and quicker as well. I believe this space is accelerating at a pace that is hard to judge. People will say, oh, you can't just look at the past and extrapolate everything into the future, or just, the past is not going to repeat exactly. I agree. I don't think the past is going to repeat exactly. But usually people are saying that to make a case to be like, well, Bitcoin did really well in the past, but you can't really argue that it can do that well or even like half as good in the future. My point is that I think it is going to be different than the past, but much more bullish. Okay? So if you're watching this video, I want you to think of the most bullish price prediction that you can think of for Bitcoin. Okay? Is it big? Whatever number you came up with, double it. Hey, you know what? Double it again. See? It works. So with that being said, Titan of Crypto posted this: Bitcoin bull run has started. The best period to accumulate Bitcoin at a good price this cycle has just ended. The bull run has started, he says, in his opinion, and soon you'll see those who think otherwise FOMOing in, fueling the price of Bitcoin. And you can see the accumulation phase and the bull run phase, and we absolutely have exited the accumulation phase. I absolutely agree with that. Now, one thing I want to highlight as well is that you guys know I've been bullish the entire year of 2023. Sometimes I get comments like, why are you so bullish? Are you always bullish? Well, no, I'm not always bullish. It's just that, being bullish when the market is bullish is common sense. And I have no issue becoming bullish when the market becomes bullish. Now, here's the thing. I'm very exposed to this market. In fact, I'm over 90%, well over like 95% of my net worth is invested in crypto, right? I've always been very clear about that. One thing I have been watching, though, is I've been kind of doing these mental tests. I'm kind of been thinking, okay, pretend that I was not invested in crypto because I thought we were going to 10K. Where would I be looking to buy in here? And what like price targets would I have, like limit orders set to try and get exposure to the market? Where would I be looking? Would I be depressed? What would I be doing, right? Well, the only conclusion I've come to so far is like, wow, over these past 2 months, I would literally be dripping from my shorts in, not out of excitement, but out of frustration if I didn't have exposure to this market right now. And it's very clear why. It's very obvious why. Even just the last month, Bitcoin has just been going straight up. Every time you think there might be a nice pullback, we don't get one. We have not gotten one yet. We will get one at some point. And I think that if I, like I just said, in that scenario, if I was one of those people that needed exposure, that's where I would like really go in. But guys, there's no guarantee we are going to get a massive dump. I personally think we will get at least a 20% drawdown over the next couple of months, at least, I think. But there's no guarantee. And I'm not taking that risk anyway because I'm already in the market. So the thing is, if Bitcoin goes up, I'm happy, right? I'm already exposed to the market because I believe in it and I believe we're in a very bullish period. But all I'm saying is if I was playing devil's advocate, I would, and trying to think, okay, where would I be? It's hard for me to really come to a nice, easy conclusion there. Now, here we have Bitcoin compared to the second bull market right here. And I believe we're where we are is very similar to this phase here back in March of 2016. Right before we broke like the biggest resistance of the previous bull market, just like we're doing right now. Although, to be honest, so far Bitcoin is like slicing through a decent chunk of this resistance so far very easily. We have so much support right here at 30K if we get a pullback that I'm extremely bullish, and that's where I would basically enter if I was not exposed to the market yet, right? I was trying to do that like thought experiment, where would I like optimally put everything in? That's what I would be doing. It's not financial advice, but like I'm saying, if I wasn't exposed, that's to me what makes sense, like what I would be trying to get in at. But ultimately, this is the more important part. This is, I think, what we're going to be seeing over the next year. Just this, guys. And man, it's just too exciting. It's because the reason it's so big is because people like you, people like me, we wait literally years for this. It's not always easy spending month after month after month, year after year for about 2 or so years, every Bitcoin cycle. It's not always super fun to just be like, okay, you know, the gains will come eventually. The gains will come eventually. The thing is, the gains always do come eventually. But that process and that waiting is not necessarily very fun. It is fun to accumulate more and more and then do the math in your head of like, okay, well, you buy a lot for a period of 2 years and you think, okay, if Bitcoin goes to this, I'll have this much, and if I get this amount, then this is how much it'll be worth if it hits this price target at the next bull market. So that kind of is fun. But this is the part of the bull cycle that's really fun, because this is when we actually start seeing those gains become a reality. This is when we start realizing, wow, the persistence of staying in crypto for a year or two, a couple years, an entire 4-year cycle, all that, it actually pays off. So this is by far, I'm excited for myself. I'm excited for everyone watching. This is very big. And I know there's some people watching thinking, you know, oh, this is all baloney. We're going back to 10K. You've been saying that for the past year. We're 4 times higher than 10K. Go tell your mom you love her and say you're sorry, because you could have been doing better in life and you messed up. But here's the deal. So if we look at Bitcoin's, daily chart, the 21-day moving average, wow, I'm surprised that it's still, I mean, goodness gracious. We've been watching this Giga Golden Cross on Bitcoin's weekly chart forever. It's getting closer and closer. It's only weeks away. Stock market actually having very impressive gains today. Let's actually take a look here. We are within like 0.15%. We're within like, right, less than 1/5% to breaking the highs we set back in the summer, which is just very bullish for the stock market, and also I think would help Bitcoin a lot. DXY looks like trash, okay? Absolute baloney, garbage. And I think that's absolutely going to help propel Bitcoin. I really want to see, and this is the chart I keep going back to, I really want to see a move definitively above 40K. Because that's one possibility I think is becoming more and more realistic, is that we have a quick move just above 40K before any substantial pullback, before like a 20% crash or something. Ethereum, my goodness, everyone is waiting on this massive coin for its true breakout, this number one altcoin. And it's close. It is closer than ever. We're right now on the very top of this channel, again, trying to hold support here. This is big. This is gigantic. Really, all of these charts are just very impressive to look at. And yeah, I think the main theme, the main takeaway of this video is like, we are quite literally in, whether we get another 20% drop, who cares long term? We're literally in it now. Every week that's gone by for the past couple of months, I think most people now are convinced this is the beginning of the bull market. Okay. That doesn't mean we're not going to have crashes. I have to keep saying that. We are going to. But guys, I mean, honestly, I'm curious, maybe if you're watching the video up until this point, maybe leave a comment on like what % you're invested in crypto. For me, it's about like 95% or so, right? Basically all in. I have to buy snacks and food and stuff, and a lot of places don't accept Bitcoin yet. So I'm not like, not every single penny, but basically as much as I can afford to have in crypto is what I have in crypto. So not to say that's big, but it's pretty big. As well, if you guys are interested in any trading, make sure to take advantage of Femex or BitGet below. Sign up to my link below. It takes 30 seconds. Additionally, you can buy so many different altcoins with those platforms. They offer a bunch of altcoins if you're interested in getting in other coins. Without any further ado, that's it for me.